So this is part 5 of the Datsun Restore project. Got this steering column all done in this one. And I start on the rack and pinion. I don't know if you can see the wheels turning. But the wheels are turning. Obviously, making a little progress. It's all loose in there. But this part 5, I think I finish off the column and I start on the cross member and the rack and pinion. And there's also a little bit of tailgate fix in here. And I still haven't fixed the floor. Still says Dell. So enjoy part 5. Okay, so it's 70 millimeters from the top of the nut to the bottom of this. So I put the steering column back together to figure out how much I need. And that's what it is. So 70 millimeters of shaft needs to be exposed from the top of the tube. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice this. This shaft is like 17.4 millimeters. This is like 17.2 millimeters. It's just too tight. It won't fit in there. It's basically a compression fit, because that's basically squeezing this tube. So I'm going to relax it by cutting it and slide this in and then weld it back on. And obviously I got to weld this tube to the flange. But I've got this thing all bolted in with 3 bolts again. And I even have the brake master clutch installed. And the brake switch is installed. Oh, I'm missing a nut. It just clears. The only thing I'm concerned about is the speedo cable. That may or may not work. I don't know. So this rubber thing, I forgot about this. This goes down here. This is what the steering wheel hits first. These little collars go on here. Give it the taper. And then there's the steering wheel goes here, and a washer, then a nut. 70 millimeters. Exactly. So clean this thing up in the wire wheel. I think I'm going to try sanding this a little bit. Oh, it actually goes in now a little bit. Didn't a second ago. So I'm trying to relax this steel. So it's interesting that the 521 shaft is the exact same diameter. It's 1.5 inches as the Leaf Z01 or whatever it is. You can see the remnants of it on the inside. What I'm trying to do is grind off this weld. There's so much weld, it'll take too long. In theory, I could slide this right back into that tube and then weld it on, because I want to get it kind of straight. I think it would help if it was as straight as possible. Okay, so got my level clamped to the table, my flange clamped to the table. I'm going to try to hold this thing level. It's going to be tricky. That's the top, the burn mark. There's a little notch for the turn signal. I'm going to put a couple tacks on here and then test fit it. She's smoking. I think that worked. So now, let's go test it on the truck. Wow. Came out pretty good. I think I got it right on the money. All I gotta do is fill it with weld. And uh-oh. Oh, I got the tack in the wrong place. That tab is supposed to be over here. 90 degrees from there. Did I screw that up? No, wait, no. I didn't. Oh, I did it right. I think. Yeah, there's the notch. Okay, I screwed that up. Okay, so now I gotta bolt that on. Then I gotta figure out the critical dimension of the shaft. That's gonna be fun. And then I guess somehow connected to this thing. I was thinking I could actually cut off more of this stuff. I could, in theory, even use the original clamp, but I don't want to. I want to use this thing for some reason. Actually, you know why? Why do I want to use this thing? It does have some tilt, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so I just shortened this by 4 more inches. But then I slotted this thing. So now it's flaring out. So now I'm going to have to like kind of squeeze it back together. At the same time, beat this sleeve in. I don't want it to be in too tight. At the same time, I want it to be straight. So, let's see, I accidentally, or temporarily clamped this tube on the side. And I've got my 70 millimeters. So it needs to go in a little bit more. So I'm gonna pound it in and then put this clamp on here so I can pull this together and then pull a little bead weld. I finally got it to the perfect dimension. So I just did a mock-up. So I went ahead and clamped it down. It's solid. Even without this clamp, I pounded it in like 1/4 of an inch and it was tight where there's no wobble, nice and straight. And so feel good about that. So now I go ahead and clamp this so I can weld up these seams. Put a little weld around here. I'm gonna take the box out of the truck, obviously. I can weld up this. Obviously that's not gonna go over that. Yeah, we should be done with this part. And we can make another mount and do the next section. Alright, I welded it up. Hopefully it's the right size. Just waiting for it to cool down. And then we'll put it back together. Oh good, it fits. This thing only goes on one way. Alright, so hopefully that's 70 millimeters. Okay, I got this bolted on. I shortened this down a little bit more. So now this is a little loose because there's a little bent steel in there before. So now to fill up this void, I figured out the thickness of this 521 tube. It's just the right thickness. So I cut out a piece, stretched it out a little bit. If I already mocked this up, if I press that in there and in there, it'll fit perfectly. Let's see if I can do that now. Is that a fire truck? Okay, so now I just got that on there. So wherever that ends up, let's see if this fits now. Is it too thick now? Oh, it's too fat. It's too wide. I think I need to cut these in half. Here goes the first install. Some lights in here. Okay, so it's heavy. So I got another sleeve in there, pressed in. So let's put the brake light switch in. There's the nuts. That's a nut. That's a nut, but that's one of them. Oh, yeah, there's one. Let's see if we can get out of the way. Switch. Okay, there's 2 of them. So now it should be on there. Where's the other one? Ratchet. It's in. God, I hope that's the right size. Where's my batteries? Okay, first time. Fully welded. this thing all the way. Something like that. So this tube is not welded. She's solid now. And then I still got some tilty, I think, maybe. There's up, there's down. So if I wanted to, whoa, the whole bar moves. I'm gonna put some ports here. So in order to get this to go down, I have to play with this bracket here. Where's the steering wheel? I think that's, you can see me. I got my brake pedal in, I can't press it because fluid sprays out of that thing. My clutch actually broke free, it's actually on, but it's empty. Gas pedal. That's not hooked up yet. So, I think I'm pretty happy with that. This steering wheel is big. Okay, here's the steering wheel. I guess I can put the steering wheel. It'll go on with those stupid splines. Let's see. Those bolts have to line up those rubbers. Looks good. So that's the. It's pretty good. Contact with the shifter. If I move the seat up where my wife would sit, what's working? This is where my wife would be sitting. Okay, this thing is still a lock. This thing has to get cut. That thing is like hitting my knee. That thing is annoying. Okay, so we got to shorten that tilt wheel thing. You can see what I'm talking about. This thing is deadly. Chop out this whole thing. Yeah, it's feels like a truck. Big old steering wheel. So the only thing I probably have a problem with is maybe, I don't know if the speedo cable is still gonna work. Because I think the speedo cable is right around here somewhere. May clash on that motor. So maybe we should put the dash back in. I actually have, do I have a speedo cable? I think I do have the speedo cable. Okay, it's time to fix this tailgate. So I figured out they are 5/16 holes, but 5/16 bolts wouldn't fit in here. I figured out why. There's a little dent right there on each end, so you can't get a bolt in. So there must have been some kind of pin in there, and then it was smashed on both sides. So I took a 5/16 drill bit. Didn't have a real long one, so I just used an extension. And I just merely drilled out that that end a little bit, and now 5/16 bolt will fit. So now I just need to get some new bolts the right length, and I can bolt this on. I didn't do this side, but so I'm probably gonna have to buy a long 5/16. Or worst case, I could actually cut that off or try to beat that out. Or beat a bolt through or something, I don't know. At least I finally noticed the little divot there. So now I can get the tailgate on correctly. Okay, I had 1/4" bolts in there. It feels so much better. It's not slopping around. So now I gotta get the tailgate level. So I got a little upgrade. So let's see. Truck, okay, so it's 1.2 degrees, 521 to 1.2 degrees. So I just went to the junkyard and I grabbed some D21 tailgate, whatever you call them, straps. They're like 20 bucks brand new on eBay, but I wanted the bolts and anything else, so I think the junkyard charged me bumper bracket, $5.99 each. So, and $5.99 for the other bumper brackets. Those are for the D40. So $5.99 each, so 12 bucks. And I got all the hardware, so let's see if we can make these work. I don't remember where they were. I should have took a picture. But, I just noticed the left and right of this thing. There's no left and right. So why wouldn't that work? Let's see if we can figure this out. Alright, so I just picked up, I want to look at rack and pinions today. I wanted to use the Pathfinder R50, but it was way too wide. I bought a Versa Note rack, but it's rear steer. So unless I put in like a VQ35 and Z knuckles, the reverse steer, that won't work. I had a crazy idea for that. Thought maybe I can make that work somehow, but don't think so. And the Versa ends are too small. So then I picked up this Mazda Miata 97 rack from the junkyard. I read online it's very small. It's still a little wider than 521. You can see the bend is there by an inch or two. But I guess this is what's in Bob's MX 520, the famous green Datsun with the Mazda drivetrain. So I figured maybe I can make it work. I even read you could take these apart and cut them and tap them or something, and shorten them down. So it is power, so I got to get rid of all the lines. I've seen other people. I think I saw Urchfab. I think it was his Mazda he did in England, where he converted. I think that was a Mazda MX-5 that he put under that Ford. He converted to a manual. So I can convert to a manual for a different reason. So here's the stock stuff, stock box. I even picked up the coupler. The splines are different between, I don't think I compared to this one, the Versa one. Yeah, they're all different. Even keychains. Yeah, so I've also got the neck shaft, the up to the column. It's only like 15 bucks. And here's the amazing part. These knuckles, I took this over to the junkyard. There was one hard body, and I took the tire rod out off it. It was like a 2-wheel drive D21. And I did this, and it fits. It looks damn good. If I need to ream it a hair more, I can. I have a reamer. But so that tells me two things. One, Mazda uses the same pitch. Even the nut was the same between Nissan and the Nissan one, I think was 19, and the Mazda was 17. But on the inside threads, it was the same between. Here it is. I don't know, somewhere right here. Where'd it go? Here's the nut, castle nut. So that tells me that the Mazda tie rod ends could be used if needed. So now I need to make a cross member and try to figure this out. Try to figure out the angles. Here's the cross member I started for the Versa one. Got it all bolts and everything. But oh, stupid. I was thinking I could use this R50 thing that I thought this changed direction for some reason. All it does is it kind of replaces the standard steering box. See, I had a Pathfinder R50 years ago, 96. So your steering column goes in here, and then this goes down to the rack, or vice versa. Yeah, no, this way. And so what this does is you can have your rack down here in front of the front diff. Goes up to your steering column. I was thinking this changed directions. I was thinking I could use this with a rear steer box, thinking it changed direction, but it doesn't. So I may still use this because this will let me play with angles. So I don't have to have it go from the leaf power steering straight down. So it's a big old beast in here. Something like this. I don't know. Still may come into play. And then here is the this is the Mazda Miata. This actually went to the steering column, and this went down to that rag joint. I bought this, and I'm assuming this is the collapsible bit in the middle. In case you crash, they must get smushed. I was thinking I could cut this here and use this to get up to my. I'm probably gonna have to cut this and put on the factory 521 shaft to get it all the way up to the leaf, because I'm still missing like 2 feet of steel, right? So I could have a foot of Mazda and then 2 feet of 521 and then hit the leaf box. Does that make sense? I don't know, we'll figure it out. Let's see. Maybe we can figure it out from here. So that went into the steering box. See? There's the leaf right there. even with the leaf extension shaft. I'm still short a good 8 inches or so. So it's, I guess making a cross member will be the first step. Actually, I think the first step is to continue getting rid of all these hydraulic crap. I think they're just a waste of space, which I don't think is going to get in the way. The funny thing is I went to the junkyard to buy this thing, and the biggest socket I brought was a 14mm and the biggest wrench was a 19. I was standing in line for half an hour and I was thinking, oh my god, what size are the bolts that hold on the brackets? If it's anything like Nissan, they're huge. But they were little 14mm heads, 10mm bolts. So luckily I didn't have to walk back to the truck. And the Miata that I pulled this out of was gutted. It had been in there for a month. No engine training, no hood, no front bumper. I just literally walked in the engine compartment, undid all the bolts, hoses. 5 minutes I had it out. Couldn't have been easier. There was 2 Miatas. I didn't even find the other one. But yeah, 50 bucks. Plus I think it was like a $10 core charge. So this thing's into... The other option is to buy like an old Z rack or something. I can just cut this stuff off and cover the hole and put grease in there. What the hell is this? So I just took all the hard lines off this rack and cut the hard lines off the fittings. I think I'm gonna weld them up. I was gonna put some epoxy in there, but I think I'll weld them up, put them back in as plugs. Instead of me trying to find some. But I was trying to clean this off, and there's a sticker on here. It looks like the brand is a JKC, and the model is 510. I don't know if you can read that or not. It's 510 something. Can't make out the rest. But I'll try to degrease this thing a little bit. Again, this is from a 97. So I'm trying to make a cross member. Looks like it's little tabs, a little bent there. So try to figure out how to make a cross member. Bolt this thing onto my... This is the width in between the frame minus 1/8 inch on each side. Bolt it into the stock steering box location. That's the theory anyway. Okay, after a little cleaning, it's looking good. Okay, first step on putting the new steering rack is gotta reinstall the old one. Try to figure out where the new one should go. At the very least, I need a center link and 1 tie rod. The next step on installing the new rack is to make some brackets. So I'm going to convert these top mount brackets. They currently screw down into the frame of the Mazda, so that's not going to work anymore. So I need to convert it. I'm going to actually hang the rack from the top up to the cross member. So I need to put a plate across the bottom. So I got some like 4 1/4 inch scrap steel. I just drill the hole. Here's a little trick of what I do is did I just drill it already? Yeah, I just drill. What I do is I clamp 2 pieces of steel together. So I drop that off the back. That way I get both of them the same. And then what I do is I put an 1/8 inch hole, which ends up being 3mm. Got tons of 3mm bolts laying around. And then I bolt them together, and then clamp them again. I gotta do it the right way. Actually, that bolt will work. That way, that bolt will hold them, so I don't have to use the clamp. And do an 1/8 inch hole in through all 4 locations. One of the miata mounting brackets was severely bent and deformed, and I'm assuming it's supposed to be the same as the other one, so I don't know where it is. I beat it back into shape with a sledgehammer. Well, this is the one that's pretty good, and so I got some scrap steel. And no, it's not from this old rusty two-wheeler. Yeah, it is actually. It's got a little curve to it. Recycling some steel. It just happens to be the perfect size, like inch by an 1/8 inch. So now I've got I got to drill these holes bigger. And I'm deciding whether or not to put weld nuts here, or well, so this is going to go on the rack. And then you can, so this will be, you know, picture that connect to the cross member, go into the frame. So you kind of slide the rack in from the bottom. So it's going to be welded from the top. Probably with this square tubing that I found, or something like that. So then I could either weld the original bolts through here, and then just whip that on and put on 2 nuts, and the rack is installed. Or I could put nuts on here, weld nuts to here, and then put bolts in from the top. Which way should I go? Since I'm running out of nuts, 10mm nuts. I got a lot of nylon stuff. Actually, that's some right there. So I haven't decided which way to go yet, but I do have the hardware that came with the rack. And here's the finished brackets. Drilled whatever size the hole is. So I can run the stock 10mm bolts, which is not these. And I think what I'll do is I'll weld the original bolts to these. I think I'll do that, and I'll just run new nylon nuts up or whatever and lock it down. I could probably do the opposite too, weld the bolts to these tabs, slide on, put in 2 nuts, either way. But next step. Alright, this thing's leaking oil like crazy. So I watched a couple of videos on how to depower this rack. Basically I gotta take off the outer tie rods, the boots, this bolt, this nut, take out the pinion, this boot, there's a nut in there, this tie rod, and then there's a seal in the middle I gotta cut off, and then plug these holes and put it all back together. So, okay, got this thing apart. Check out this tie rod. I think this is bad. There's rocks in the tie rod. Well, never seen that before. Look at the size of the rocks in the tie rod boot. I guess you could tell it's from a junkyard. Let's do. Anyways, I took out that little thing, 6mm head. This looks like it's a 41. My thing only goes up to 40. So I gotta find a socket for this little nut. Oh, this is a lock nut. This is 32. I have a wrench for 32. That's cool. I have a bunch of those. I think it's the biggest metric wrench I have. These are 12mm. The nut 17mm. The tie rod is 17mm. So I need to get off this thing, and oh yeah, this is different than a couple. So this is an NA Mazda Miata, I found out, which means first generation, 90 something to 97. This is a 97, I think it was. I don't know why there's like white silicone on the boots. So this is the very first generation Mazda Miata, or MX-5, I think they call it in some countries. So I'm trying to beat these clips off. I'm trying to get this thing to stop leaking all over me. It's pretty nasty. So I can get this thing apart. Oh jeez. A little metal shim just flew out of there. Whoopsie. But yeah, I gotta get that seal out. So I gotta take out this nut, so I can get this shaft out. So I'm almost there. I don't even know if I have to take this out actually. No, I don't think I do. That is the preload. Then I'm just gonna take out this one, and I think I'll be halfway done. There's the bolt so far. I gotta repack these bearings. I gotta take this thing apart. That's just nasty. How did it have so much gunk in it? Can it be done? There goes, I got it in the vise. Should be. Oh, come on. Put this thing on top of it. There we go. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Not very often I get to use my 32mm wrench. Most of the thing just start pouring out fluid. So I probably should take off this other crazy tie rod in. Let's take off that tie rod in. Here's my hammer. Is it moving? Oh, the shaft is moving. What's going on? Now I need to turn the shaft. How am I supposed to do that? This would be a lot easier in the vehicle. Stupid washers. Oh, what size is this thing? I'm going to turn that one. What size is that one? Is it that size? Is it, what is this, 30? Oh my god, I think it is. Is it 30? Oh, it's flipping loose. No. That's supposed to turn. Oh, the shaft can't turn, can it? Oh, now that I took out that gear, the shaft can turn. Shit. I gotta put that pinion back in so it doesn't turn. Oh well. Must have learned. Yeah, because this thing's just turning the shaft. I obviously don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I can turn the shaft now. Look at that. Oh! Oh, it's spinning again. You're up in the bucket, buddy. Oh, jeez. Oh, I almost got it in the bucket. Did I get in the bucket? Spraying all over the place, man. This is a disgusting job. Got my arm. Well, I had oil in the thing. I think I got rid of all the oil now. Try that again. Oh, I can't put it back. Going all the way one way. You impressed yet with the truck? Probably not.